a lot of who you know is important. So I definitely put yourself out there.
Be annoying.
Be annoying, exactly.
Okay.
Not to say that is, esports has allowed me to have weird conversations
With old ladies and all of that, yeah.
I just talked like I was someone who sounded interesting to listen to, and then I kind of became someone that was interesting to listen to.
Almost like a persona.
Pushing a lot of my buttons, esports did. Okay, here it is. This is what's going to happen in Worlds 2024. Okay.
Welcome to the first of its kind CoEs Industry podcast. I'm Louis Skilton, and brought with me here today is none other than Foxdrop.
You make me sound way more important than I am.
Well, you're a legend in the League of Legends scene, and the actual knowledge you have participating in everything. I personally, you're quite admired, no?
I mean, if you say so, I'm not going to disagree, but...
don't want to make you blush too much. But
no.
So today we're going to be covering all sorts, and we're basically going to be extracting all of your knowledge just to whoever is interested.
Yeah. One of my brain cell will be working very hard today then.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to try and use at least half a brain cell, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah. So, first of all, let's get the audience to know a bit more about you.
Mm-hmm.
Where did it all begin?
Oh, man. I mean, I started in 2012. That's a long time ago now. How old were you in 2012?
I was about 10 years old.
10 years old.
Yep.
God. So I made content in 2012, started with YouTube, and then that turned into streaming. Quite natural progression there. And in 2017 I moved on to casting, which was a lot of fun. I was talking about my own games, so why not just talk about the professional people's games? So I started in the UK scene, got with that. That was cool. That was fun. I was doing that for a bit, and then Riot was doing some bits with them. EU Masters 2018, the very first one. I was doing it with. So I was casting the UK scene with ESL.
All under League of Legends.
Yes, all League of Legends. And ESL were hosting the UK scene, and then ESL were asked to host the EU Masters as well. So from that, and then Riot and LEC and.
So you've had lots of different interactions with loads of the biggest esports tournament hosters internationally within Europe. So, how has League been for you with how you started, how you're editing, or how it's going? How has it been?
What do you mean, how has it been? Like
in terms of working on a game, specializing on it, you started with educating people in your videos all the way to casting. What have been the ups and downs about it?
I did start doing educational content, started with like making guides and stuff. Like I'd got pretty good when I first started. I was no life in League, nobody's business.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, bit of a dark time in my history. And I got good enough that I could make guides, and so I did. I made guides, and it resonated enough with the player base that I kept making them. And I just kind of took it from there, really. I always liked to think of myself as like I believe like there's more to teaching than just having the knowledge. Like to me, teaching is the part between knowledge and like the student. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So let's say what's your favorite topic ever? What are you passionate about?
Well, I mean, I'm at esports uni, so let's keep it on track with League, shall we?
That's so boring.
It's very boring.
I know you like Tekken. We'll say Tekken.
Tekken, yeah.
So
let's
you're
go
into
with
Tekken, right? So I want to learn about Tekken. You know everything about Tekken, more or less. No, you know everything about Tekken. You're a Tekken god.
I'm quite new, but we're getting there.
The art of teaching isn't. You're not just a teacher because you know about Tekken. The art of teaching is this bit between us, right?
Yeah.
Trying to get me to know what teaching Tekken's about, right? And so I like to think I fit into that area pretty well, and I liked doing that. So that's why I started the guides, and then when I moved on to that was kind of my niche, I guess, when I was streaming as well, like playing games and being educational while playing. The fact that I had a high rank, obviously back then I had a high rank was beneficial. And it just kind of went on from there. So it's always been my focus, and it's why now I love coming to like college of esports and stuff like that. I go to different unis and schools and stuff to talk to them because I just enjoy it. I'm not a teacher. I'm not teaching you about esports, but like I just hopefully at least teaching bits about how to get into esports and how to do the esports.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting you say that, because at the end of the day, like, you can set up the esports courses, you can set up, how to know the business around it, but at the end of the day, it's whoever is the best at the game, whoever is best at casting, and all of that is what really matters. At least that's what makes it a spectacle, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it is a bit complicated in the sense as well, because there's so many, like I say esports is a people industry.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that going around, like friends getting jobs, and if you it's difficult, because if you just seclude yourself, then you miss out on a lot of opportunities. But pretty much every gamer and esports person, or someone that wants to get into esports, is very secluding themselves,
a little
introverted,
a little shy.
Exactly.
I noticed you were quite heavy on that when you had the talk earlier at the College of Esports. It was very much that our demographic want to get out there. Like, you may be challenger, but just having those social skills to actually thrive is very difficult. It's a soft skill that a lot of people need to push forward. And as what I was thinking when I was watching it was, has the content creation element helped you push that?
Yeah, for sure. When I started, I was very monotone and boring.
Right.
I have a very monotone and boring voice naturally. I'm just I'm just kind of drony, and I'm just a little bit tired when I CP, and I'm a bit like Eeyore from
Winnie the
Winnie
Pooh.
the Pooh. Yeah. And when I made my first few videos, I was a bit like that. And one of the feedback I got was, you're kind of boring to listen to, bro. Like, what's going on? And so I just, I'm not someone who naturally has, like a flavorful voice, or that particularly that interesting to listen to. So I just made it up. I just talked like I was someone who sounded interesting to listen to, and then I kind of became someone that was interesting to listen to.
Almost like a persona.
Yeah.
Well, it literally is a persona.
Yeah. Just like a persona. And, going back to the talk we had, the presentation I gave, I say a lot about fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And I faked being entertaining to listen to. I pretended that I was someone that was entertaining to listen to. And I wasn't, but I kept doing it until I was. And so, yeah, it did help a lot with the kind of, it's a great phrase you use, soft skills. It helped me a lot to kind of, I was playing League, and I was good at League, and I knew a lot about League, but I hadn't interacted with viewers, with audiences, with people. Like, maybe I play the games with friends, but none of that kind of like person-to-person interaction at all. So I had to learn that pretty quick.
Especially with that game, because no voice comms, no nothing. It's a bit of a warfare on the chat.
It can be.
Yeah. So I get what you mean, definitely.
Yeah. It was good fun though, and it's something that I think it's something I really enjoy. So it's one of my strengths now, which is nice, because at the time I didn't, and in school as well, I was very quiet.
Yeah.
Very laid back, easygoing, and wasn't really something I knew I enjoyed doing or was even good at.
Yeah.
And so just getting into this, I kind of figured out it's kind of my jam.
So, I mean, esports in a way made it possible for you to do things that traditionally wouldn't have.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think just chatting with people, yeah, it's strange, isn't it? The whole world is a people place.
Yeah.
I know that sounds like a very odd thing to say, but like, I'll give you an example. This is a very peculiar example. I was coming home from London. I live, like train journey away from London, and I was coming home around Christmas time, and I was about to get off of my stop, and this kind of like lady, let's say she's maybe in her 60s.
Okay.
Approached me. I was with my brother, and I was sitting down by the doors that were opening. I was sitting down, and she approached us, and she was like, "Is this the naughty corner for the naughty boys?" And I was like, and I think your natural reaction to that is like, "What the hell is going on here?" Like, maybe be a bit shy, but I was just like, "Yeah, yeah, it is." And I was like, so do you belong in this corner as well? And she's like, yes, I've been very naughty. And then she started describing all the chocolate she'd eaten on the train. And then, yeah, I just had a very surreal conversation with this lady.
Yeah.
Not to say that is, esports has allowed me to have weird conversations with
old ladies and all of that. Yeah.
But it's just something like, in the past, I would have been very uncomfortable in that situation.
Right,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you just learn social skills. You just learn to kind of roll with things, chat a bit of rubbish, and have fun. And
yeah,
I don't know. I guess it is an example of how my personality has kind of
developed.
Yeah,
for
a good way.
And that's really cool. Yeah, no, I think that is really cool, especially with, again, the demographic, a lot of stigma with people, and if like playing the games almost changes that, then it's counterintuitive when people say, "Oh, you shouldn't be playing these games."
Yeah, because it isolates you.
Yeah.
It's the most social a lot of people will be.
Yeah,
because you're always playing with someone.
Yeah.
So yeah,
even if it is running it down in top lane, but
maybe that's just you. I've never ever done that in my life.
What? Maybe. So when we're thinking of like the key stages of you developing this, one of the big things is, EU Masters, the LEC. This is going from content creation to a very professional environment. And from what I can imagine is that's got to be very stressful. I noticed when in one of your vlogs when you did do the LEC or EU Masters that you struggled a bit with anxiety.
Yeah.
Would you mind explaining on that?
God, yeah, that was difficult. There was a lot of reasons why it was a bit difficult me switching from my content to esports.
Yeah.
So when I actually got into content, I was not in the best place mentally, and I was very isolated. I was sitting in my room playing games, getting good at games.
Yeah.
That is how I started. But it did mean, I did develop pretty bad social anxiety. Leaving the house was a no-no. It was very difficult for me. And that, being a content creator didn't push those buttons. I sat at home, I played games, didn't have to leave the house. It was fun,
Yeah.
So it was very easy, but it was also enabling in a way as well, where I really, should be getting out of the house and doing things. Should's a dangerous word, I always say, but you know what I mean, right?
Like a guilt. Almost.
Yeah. It was a bit guilty, sitting at home and just knowing at the end of the day, the more I stay at home, the less likely I am to ever not stay at home. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then when it came to events specifically, still I guess in the content side, before I got into esports, I remember in oh my goodness, what year was that? I'm going to say maybe 2013? Maybe 2014?
Okay.
I'm not sure, but EULCS, as it was known at the time, came to London.
Right.
It came to Wembley, not the big Wembley, the small Wembley. There's there's a difference. I don't know.
Wembley Not So Stadium.
Yes.
Okay.
Wembley Not So
Stadium. We're going to go
Stadium.
with that for now.
Yeah. And yeah, I went there, and I was quite a big UK-based League of Legends guy at that time. I did a fan meet and stuff like that. And it was weird because I wasn't anxious about the fan meet. I was just kind of anxious about being far from my safe space, my home.
Right, gotcha.
So, getting the train up and doing all that stuff was challenging. But, these are all really good experiences for me. And it was the same when I got into esports. It took me out of my comfort zone because when I was doing the UK scene, I had to go up to Leicester. That was the ESL studio was in Leicester.
Yeah.
Which for me is about 2.5, 3 hours away. In the car. And I took my dad with me every time. He drive me up there. I wasn't driving at the time, another victim of my anxiety.
Yeah.
So I wasn't driving at the time. And yeah, it's not an ideal situation to have your dad as your kind of escort, your chauffeur,
right, yeah,
kind of thing, right?
But it was the support you needed.
But yeah, it was.
And it got
exactly.
Yeah.
Precisely. It got me there. And I think that's something you kind of got to be kind to yourself about, as in the moment I felt a bit, I don't know if humiliate is the right word, but it felt a bit do you know what I mean? bring my dad with me. I'm like 25, you know, my dad's...
Oh, almost like a school setting. It was like, don't want dad to drop me off at the school. Yeah.
I wasn't embarrassed of him specifically. I love my dad, but it was just embarrassed of the fact that I needed my dad there, or an adult. Do you know what I mean? Like, can't have my hand held by my dad every time I want to leave the house type thing. But whatever, it was difficult for me. It got me there. I did it, whatever. But I still did have a lot of anxiety about doing it.
Yeah.
And I just kind of, you just do it. And it's not easy. And even now, like, things are still difficult for me. And if I were to go back to LEC abroad's like a tough one. It all kind of stems from how far away from, like, you know, home you go, and how easy it is for you to get back if you need, you know. And abroad, obviously, is difficult. Far from home, can't run away to home.
Yeah.
Because, you know.
Yeah, I mean, go and get the flight tickets, and then the flight gets cancelled.
Yeah.
All of those. I know what you mean.
So you feel a bit trapped, and that can be mentally a difficult place to be in. So it pushed a lot of my buttons, esports did. But it really helped me, actually. It got me out there, got me doing things. And for me personally, like, motivation can be something I struggle with because I'm quite laid back and easygoing, which has its benefits as well. But lacking motivation, I'd say, is sort of a drawback, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I'm just not fast. Like, you know, I'm not working really hard to earn loads of money because I don't care about having loads of money. And that's not necessarily a bad thing in and of itself. But, you know, there are situations where having lots of money is a good thing. You know? So basically what I'm trying to say is I didn't have a lot of motivation to push my comfort zone, because you don't want to. It's like a force that's
Definitely
pushing
not.
against you. You know, you have to find some motivation to make you want to push against this force. That's kind of how I would view a lot of my mental health issues, right?
And how did you find that?
That was esports.
Yeah.
Well, so esports was finding it in that's the motivation that I found to push myself.
Cool.
But for how I found it from, like, how was the experience?
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy, but you do it.
And with especially casting, because it's been your main focus within the LEC and EU Masters. I mean, people have seen the clips. Especially one of my favorites has got to be you in the Union Jack uniform. Yeah. Non-biased opinions, of course, of who's going to win.
The English team, the British team, yeah.
How does that environment feel? Like the contrast, and do you feel like you overcame it?
The anxiety?
Yeah. When you were on the set, when it was all...
I'm very much like I get in my head. A lot of mental is in your own head, right? And so one of the best ways to get over it, I guess, is distraction.
Yeah.
The less your brain is thinking about everything that can go wrong, then, because not everything is going wrong, you are fine. That's the reality of it at the end of the day. The less your brain's thinking like that, then better off you are. So if you can replace the focus, the fixation on the negative with something different, then you're golden. At least, and that was my experience, where once I was in the zone doing esports things, casting, talking, then I didn't think about other stuff as much.
You know, even if it's for like the student champs or just like a dry run, I do get the nerves when casting the league games and everything like that.
Well, you said before we started, you're like, the start's the thing that we might have to do a few runs to start.
Yeah, because again, it's like the getting in your head, breaking the ice almost.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing, you know. And then once you get into it, like right now, you're not thinking about what your next sentence is going to be. You're just sitting there chatting.
Yeah,
right?
we're just
So. Yeah, no, it's great, and that did really help me a lot. And I found, like, especially with the UK scene, my fondest memories are still actually, even though I did like bigger and better things than the local UK scene. You know, when the viewership was like 100 people, and then I started doing LEC where it's hundreds of thousands of people across all the broadcasts. Like, my most fun times were with the UK scene, because I just went there. It was just like a bunch of mates.
Yeah.
Just chilling out, just hanging out. We were just chatting rubbish about the UK scene, just watching esports, watching games, playing games. Like, it was just good fun.
I mean, one of the most recent ones, and it was actually my first opportunity, was MSI. And that was only down the road. It's only literally a 10-minute walk away.
Yeah.
On the other side of the park. How was that? How was, just the most recent League of Legends experience?
It's always good fun.
Yeah.
Like, when I first started going to league events, there hasn't been too many in the UK, to be honest. Like, the UK has always been a little bit difficult because of visa issues.
Yeah.
And especially since COVID and Brexit, especially since then, it's been really, really hard for teams to come to the UK. But it's getting better now. Obviously, like they did MSI, and they're planning to do Worlds as well. So when I first started going to these events, like there were, I was more relatively, I was bigger. I guess like my
Gotcha.
like I had a bigger UK based audience.
Yeah.
Whereas the UK, to be honest, isn't huge on League of Legends.
Yeah.
It's a lot of like FIFA, maybe things like shooters and stuff like that.
I was very curious because you've obviously experienced UK League way before any of us got involved. Not as a disrespect, but
well, now I take it as disrespect.
No, but how has the scene developed? Is it better? Is the community more engaged, or would you say it's getting a bit more stale? I'm very curious.
For League specifically, I think it is a bit stale, really. I just think like the League of Legends or the English esports community and audience is more console based.
Yeah, definitely.
Or potentially more casual as well. And League of Legends isn't a casual console game. You literally can't play on console for starters, and it is pure competitiveness, right? So, the UK scene as far as League goes, I don't think it's doing too well, too hot, but it doesn't mean that the esports scene is dying out. And I do think, maybe the UK is a little bit behind other countries as far as gaming and just from a social standpoint.
Yeah.
I think your generation is probably the first really that's grown up proper grown up with gaming, and it not be like oh, he's the gamer kid.
We had a couple, but it's not too bad. Yeah, I'd say.
And
so.
the one after, and you're the generation after you, and then if you have kids and stuff like that, it will be normal because your parents or the parents will have been gamers growing up, and so at that point, it'll all be kind of normalized a lot as well. And the UK is still making good progress and being more of a. I mean, got the College of Esports here. This certainly didn't exist
some
10 years
progress
ago.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I think overall it's really cool, and the gaming events and stuff. There's definitely appetite for it. League of Legends, unfortunately, not as much. But
would you see MOBAs in general? I mean, Smite 2's coming up, so would you? Yeah, it is.
I didn't know about.
It is looking quite good.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, I feel, if console market came in, could always develop.
Yeah. I think as well, the thing is, the way that games are trending nowadays, it's a lot of almost like the easier it is to like hop in and hop out of the game, the better it is. Or so either shorter games are more popular, or battle royales are like took the world by storm with Fortnite, and then Apex and whatever. Because you literally drop in and drop out. Like, you literally drop in.
Out the bus.
Yeah.
In you go. Go tilted towers, get squad wiped, repeat.
Exactly. And when you get wiped, you leave the game.
Yeah.
Whereas with a MOBA or something, if you have a bad start, well, you're in that game for another 30 minutes still,
Yeah.
So, and I think that kind of casual framing of a game is popular and is probably the way to go, really. And like mobile games and stuff, mobile gaming is like the biggest market in gaming.
Yeah.
So and a lot of that is similar stuff, right? It's a lot of casual stuff. So I can't remember what specifically why I said that. What did you ask? What was
I was asking about just like how other games might be coming into esports. But one of the things I find curious about you is whilst you've stuck with League, you have explored other games like Naraka Blade Point. I know,
that was
How has that been, like trying other content, because it can be quite scary for a content creator?
It's always the thing. You feel pigeonholed.
Yeah,
you create your niche.
Yeah,
and you work with it. For me, it was League of Legends, and it's like, but what if no League of Legends?
Yeah,
what do? That can be difficult. There's no two ways about it. I think from a content standpoint, for me, I haven't done a lot of content that isn't League of Legends. Like, for me, I am putting my League of Legends on the back burner, my YouTube, my streaming and stuff. Like, I've been doing it for over a decade.
Yeah.
It's not the same for me, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I've done it for a long time, so I'm ready to do other things. But I'm still a gamer, and I have plans, and I like making content. So I'll probably do other things, but I will probably start fresh and just
Like as in a new YouTube
Yeah,
channel?
probably. Yeah,
Really?
I do have plans to start a new YouTube channel with new content, nothing to do with Foxdrop stuff,
Right.
and just, but not. I think it's important to go into it. I think I'm trying to reframe content into my
Yeah.
passion again.
Yeah. Because how has been the burnout process? Because I know you talk about
Yeah.
it and how it's I understand it's quite a difficult topic to even get around.
Yeah, it's it's something because I kind of pigeonholed myself a little bit into it, not only just by focusing purely on League of Legends, but which I don't I don't really have regrets with how I did my content. I would maybe do things differently,
Yeah.
knowing what I know, but I don't really have regrets in that sense.
How would you go about it differently if you had a whole new run, a whole new Foxdrop channel?
Well, starting now would be a lot different to if I had to go back and start. Right.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I think content changed a lot throughout the time I was making it.
I mean, it went from Smosh to Mr. Beast, so
yeah,
it's been a lot of stages.
Yeah. And I just think I don't know. I think I would have. What I did when I made my content was I was quite generalized. So if you break down niches, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you look at my channel specifically, I was a niche within a niche, right? So let's say, I mean, when you really break it down, everything is technically a niche. But let's say like your YouTube videos, right? So why are people like what videos are you making? Okay, so gaming, that's a niche in itself, right? Because there's loads of other topics.
Right.
There's like, beauty, fashion, politics, whatever, but cooking. But gaming itself is its own niche.
As the first section.
Yeah, that's like the first layer of the niche.
Door one.
And then behind door one, you've got League of Legends.
Mm-hmm.
That's its own niche as well. There's hundreds of games out there.
So we're on to door two now.
We're on door two. And already, like, if you imagine there's like 100 people at the very top before we've gone into any niches, we're on 0.1 people already, right?
Yeah, okay.
So then there's League of Legends. Then within League of Legends, what I was doing was educational content. So I was only people who are interested in educational content.
So that's door three.
That's door three. And that's quite a small one because educational content is for not only people who have a competitive mindset, but people who want to improve, like actively improve, right? So already that's, not a casual fan, already quite a hardcore fan. Then within that, you've got League of Legends specific stuff. Like I was focused mostly on like jungle. And
right. And it was the jungle pathing on top of that.
Yeah, jungle stuff.
So we're going through.
And then if you do specific champions, do you know what I mean? So if I release I don't know if you play League at all, but let's say there's a champion, Rengar. Rengar's a champion.
Love Rengar, yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, I hate to play against Rengar, but
everyone hates
the
Rengar,
lore.
but
I like the
he's
lore,
a cool champion, but everyone hates Rengar. It's true.
Yeah.
But let's say I've released, a Rengar guide video.
Yeah.
So you break down all those niches. I'm in the gaming, League of Legends, hardcore, educational, jungle, Rengar.
I've already lost count of the doors.
Yeah. It's so many. And so with that, it's like such a niche. If you compare it to some other big YouTubers at the time for League, who were off the top of my head, like you had like CivHD. I don't know if you know any of these names. It's pretty far before your time, but like Curie was one. Uber Danger was doing bits. There was loads of things, but like they just made funny videos.
Okay.
And so
I know Brody. Is it Brody?
I don't know.
Oh, I forgot. He used to make the Evelyn or like the guides. I remember watching like Evelyn and all of that. Those were quite funny.
There might be someone called Brody. I don't know, but essentially because they're entertaining and funny, like casual viewers would watch them. So yes, they're through a few doors, but not as many as I was.
Yeah.
And they had more of an opportunity to like diversify.
Right.
Because if you think I'm hilarious playing League of Legends, you'll probably find me hilarious playing Valorant or playing Tekken or playing whatever.
Right, gotcha.
So, So to more directly answer your question, I think I would probably not go as hard on the niche.
Yeah.
And actually, what I did some bits of content that were like more humor based, just like funny content.
I mean, I have to ask, when are we seeing another how to get a girlfriend in League of Legends? Because that
See, that's
honestly
it.
was one of my favorite videos.
I mean, and they got a lot of views. People loved them.
I mean,
and they were funny. They were good videos.
Mr. Producer Finlow back there watched your guides to grow up with League, and he's diamond now, so it obviously works.
Obviously, there you go.
And it's one of those things where you did also make the funny videos as well.
And that's maybe what I would have focused more on.
Yeah.
Those videos, because I like making them because I don't know, they're just a laugh.
Yeah.
But like How to Get a Girlfriend in League of Legends isn't. I mean, it has League of Legends flavor to it.
Yeah.
But I could then it could be a whole series, How to Get a Girlfriend in Counter-Strike.
Exactly.
How to Get a Girlfriend in Tekken. And then just, change it up and whatever. And then it's like,
you won't get a girlfriend in either of those, by the way. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But
maybe that would be a very short video.
It would be
but
30 seconds.
But yeah, that's the thing. Do you know what I mean? So maybe that's what I would change up a little bit. So, but yeah, like I say, I don't really have any regrets in that sense, and it's just where now I find content creation, like the burnout, I guess, of content creation is because I'm milking it for money.
Yeah.
I don't do it as a passion anymore. I pigeonhole myself. I back myself into a corner, and so now I only do content because it's like, right, I've got a mortgage to pay now.
Yeah.
And yeah,
it's a legacy issue, I guess you could say, like just the way it started, the foundations.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think so. But it's never too late, and this is what I was talking about with the new channel. Like, I can, but again, I want to go back into it as a passion thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into it thinking, okay, right, I've got a bill of £2,000. How am I going to make £2,000? Okay, all right, let's do this video and make it about this and do this. No, I want to, I want to make I just want to have fun making content.
Yeah.
I just want to do it for fun. And I do think that is the way to go. If you're making content because you have, I mean, having goals is fine, but if like you start a channel because I need a job, let's make YouTube videos, it's not going to work.
Yeah, true.
You have to start with it as a passion.
And how has that been? Because, you're in this burnout stage and you also have so many different avenues of social media. Like you've got your TikTok, you've got your Instagram, Twitter, like YouTube. Is that a very difficult balancing act?
Yeah, because there's a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, there are some crazy guys out there who probably do balance it all quite effectively, but I would say it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
And especially when they're all slightly different, because you end up having a favorite child.
Right.
And so you pay more attention to that one.
Yeah.
And then, you start neglecting the ugly kids.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Any parents watching this, we all know there's a favorite and ugly
child. Who's your ugly social media at the moment?
I think honestly, like Twitch / YouTube a little bit. Yeah. I mean, content as a whole has become a bit of the ugly child for me. League of Legends content.
Okay.
And this is more like my favorite child now is doing things like this, going out and talking to schools and stuff. I really enjoy it.
Much more in person, less behind the screen.
Exactly.
Which is, again, like very different to how you started out with wanting to be at home. And then you...
I know. It is worlds apart. It is nice to see how far I've come in that sense, but obviously you're always your own worst critic in your head. And you think mentally you've not actually made any progress and all that stuff. But
because you did talk about imposter syndrome in your presentation as well, how is that something that also has kind of like potentially created the burnout in a way, just not wanting to explore?
No, I don't think so, because I'm at the point where I don't want to say I don't care, but like it doesn't really bother me. I'm just, I don't know. I'm just going through bits, doing what I enjoy doing, and if that works, that works. I don't know. They say comparison is the thief of joy, and I think it's pretty fair. Like if you're always, there's always someone out there who's doing things bigger and better than you. So I've just learned to accept, to be content with what you're doing, as long as you're happy doing it. Then
yeah. And I would say like Twitch, for example, you had like the charity stream, hence the hair, the iconic hair has
my power
changed.
it's gone. Yeah. I know that was fun. Well,
It's like Entangled, how the hair gets cut off and all the glow goes.
yeah, I know.
No, I don't think it's like that at all. I mean, especially if you did it for charity.
Yeah, it was the world's most expensive buzz cut.
Was it?
Well, I mean, we raised like what was it, 800 and something, almost
Yeah.
900. So, I
Okay,
mean,
yeah, I see what you mean.
yeah. So,
Very fresh trim.
yeah, it was. No, I mean, I'm happy to do it. It's always good to do something for a good cause. Especially, I think that made me really happy. It was one of my most favorite streams I've had recently because like the interaction was great. People were getting into it, and
Yeah.
yeah, you
But
know.
how much, as like a content creator, how difficult is it to set something like that up consistently, would you say?
Like the practicalities or mentally or well,
A bit of everything. If you could just go into each, that'd be
yeah, for charity streams specifically.
charity streams, just IRL, the sort of like events that, you know, require the
Yeah, effort to
setup,
yeah.
the maid costumes and
Yeah.
and the buzz cuts.
Yeah, honestly, I think it is interesting, and I would say quite a difficulty of content creators because the type of personality that tends to be a good content creator
Yeah.
isn't necessarily the type of personality that is good at organization
Right.
and that kind of thing, right? So if you think about the biggest, this isn't always true, obviously, 100%, but I would say as a generalization, the biggest creators out there, you know, they're a little bit crazy,
Yeah.
a bit scatty.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And they're great personalities to watch and really entertaining. But do you think this is someone that might like forget to file their tax bill on time?
I mean, Tyler One's probably like the greatest example. No, the
Yeah,
guy's
XQC,
insane.
someone like him.
XQC, yeah.
Like
Dude.
if I, you know, had a house plant I was particularly fond of,
Yeah.
and I was like going on holiday and I wanted someone to look after it, make sure it didn't die.
Yeah.
They are the bottom of the list.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah.
This is what we're talking about. And so that kind of person, that type of personality doesn't necessarily mesh well with organization and doing the kind of, I'm going to say boring, because it is definitely boring to them, but like dirty work of you know, like reaching out to people, making creator packages like with their statistics so they can like email brands and stuff like that. Those are quite popular with content creators, or they're very
Gotcha.
useful.
Yeah.
But no the big streamers and big content creators going to do that, and like setting up things, sticking to schedules and stuff like that. Like it's all something like, especially when it comes to Twitch, you kind of just turn it on, do your thing, turn it off, whatever. There's not a lot of organization that needs to go into it. Not to say there is an organization that goes into Twitch, because people that do that like proper try hard at it
Yeah.
put a lot of work into the organization.
Yeah.
But yeah, it depends on your type of personality, and I would say, yeah, people who get into content, tends to be something they struggle with.
Yeah. I can imagine. Because like again, the creative process,
Yeah.
a lot of procrastination.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you're in the esports side of things, where you know you're expected to game to make the content. You know, one more. I can imagine just one more game is like always
Always
behind Photoshop and Premiere Pro.
Yeah, exactly. It's something, but you kind of just learn to get with it, and it depends what kind of content creator you are, right? If you're like making videos like as YouTube, like making more structured content like guides, then you do organize more, because you will have to plan out the video, plan out the script, edit it, get the footage, whatever. That does require more steps.
Okay.
Whereas streaming obviously is turn your stream on, play the game. Like, and it's very cool. I'm sure there are streamers out there who will hear me say that and be like, blah, 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 blah. We do so much more on this. And it's, you know, it's true, but I just mean at its very core, they're very different things.
It's a very like casual, almost. Like,
very
environment.
simple. Like,
Yeah.
you don't need the setup. Personally, that's what I really enjoyed about streaming sometimes as well, compared to YouTube. It's like sometimes I'm in the mood to like, especially if I'm pulling a later one, like I tend to get like work zoomies late at night.
I like the Yumi reference.
Yeah, these are that's just my time. I'm just a late night person, and so then, but that might be a ridiculously antisocial time to stream. So there's no point streaming at that time.
Right.
But I could plan a video.
Yeah.
You know, I could get some footage for something. I could record something. Right.
Right.
So there's benefits to both. Where, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, it does. You're basically saying like content needs to be a bit more structured, takes a bit more time to get into. Whereas with Twitch, you just need to be a little more at the right place at the right
yeah,
time to do it. But
yeah,
it requires a little less setup. You just
yeah.
need to, you know,
It's different skill sets. So
yeah, yeah. I see that definitely. And yeah, especially with when it comes to comfort and like work, how has something like working for orgs, for example, you're partnered with Lions Creed right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
What would you say for like people at home is the difference between working independently and
Mm.
then doing collaborative content for organizations? Is it because it's there's pros and cons for both, right?
Mm.
And what would you say those have been for you?
I'd say, yeah. To be honest, some of the pros can be seen as cons, and some of the cons can be seen as pros.
Yeah,
I'd
depending on the person.
Yeah, exactly, and your outlook on it. So the creative process specifically, like you're in charge of everything when it's just you.
Yeah,
And that can be a pro because you get to do whatever you want and you
yeah.
have complete control over that. But it can be a con because it's like, right, I've got to think up of all these
What do I
ideas.
do?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
What do I do? Whereas when you're working with orgs, like they just tell you what to do.
yeah,
And so you don't have to put in as much work in the creative side. But there are still elements where you can get involved, where you can have like creative input and stuff like that.
yeah. Put the spanner in the works and all of that. You know.
Exactly.
Add your own little twist.
Yeah, for
Cool.
sure. So you know, you can still be a creative and work with an esports org, but it is a nice change of pace. You also tend to work with like you know, like a team of people.
Yeah,
Whereas when you're just making content, it's all by yourself, so it gets a bit, I don't want to say lonely, but it's always nice to just have more of a human
yeah,
interaction when you're working and stuff. Like you kind of go a little bit stir crazy, to be
yeah,
honest. So yeah, I think it's cool, honestly, and it's nice to. Orgs tend to have quite passionate people in them as well, and so I find that quite inspiring. Like people that are just, you can just tell they just enjoy doing what they do, because esports at times can suck,
yeah.
but they're still out there, they're still doing it, they're still pushing themselves, and I find that, you know, like I said, that is quite inspiring.
And yeah, you say about like how esports can suck sometimes. Like one of the relevant things at the moment is kind of like the esports winter. And it's
Yeah.
been going for a little bit now. I can't say exactly, but how is the impact been for you as a content creator around a game that is not reliant but requires a lot of esports to keep it going?
Yeah, well, you're seeing with League of Legends doing, they've cut back their esports broadcast
Yeah.
scales quite a lot as well. I would say I'm not like personally too affected, because I mean, I'm still doing UK stuff, which is nice.
Yeah.
But esports is already kind of, I would say from like a talent standpoint, like the casters and people involved is already only doing what they had to do type
Right.
thing. They're
Okay.
kind of stingy in that sense.
Yeah.
So it's not like there are now like less casters or less things, and the broadcast is still going. So the cuts are kind of felt elsewhere.
Okay.
So it wouldn't necessarily really affect me personally.
Yeah, and for other aspiring casters, it would be, you know, they would still be able to enter the industry as normal.
Yeah, from a league standpoint, for sure. I don't know, like other games might just stop running their esports tourneys, and that obviously
Yeah.
is a bigger deal. I'm fairly certain. I've got a feeling I had some friends that I think it's Wild Rift. The Western scene, I think, has been scaled back quite heavily.
Okay.
They're focusing mostly on the Asian scene. So yeah, in that sense, oh yeah, you're being affected by esports winters.
Yeah, there have been instances in other games. Like I know Rocket League has had like a big community backlash recently.
Mm.
But yeah, it can be felt in other titles, which was why I was wondering how it may have affected you.
Well,
So-
from a creative standpoint, it affects you a lot more,
Yeah.
because being a content creator is all marketing.
Yeah.
Right, you essentially just advertise games with whatever you do. So when sponsors come for you and want to work with you, it's because they want to spend money advertising their game, their products, whatever.
Yeah.
And from a gaming standpoint, if there's a winter because there's no money,
Yeah.
they're not
Yeah.
they're not coming with sponsorships, they're not coming to you to advertise their game. And obviously, if you work in in those companies too. Like a lot of companies will scale back. And
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely can be felt. I still feel very confident that esports and gaming isn't. It can't go anywhere because, as much as I feel there's a bit of a bubble, because I mean I'm not going to pretend like I know everything like an economist in the video game industry, but especially from an esports standpoint, it was such like a hot topic for a while a few years back.
Yeah.
That loads of like VCs were coming in and like investors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
With like just so much.
The bubble was
Yeah.
getting a bit too big.
Yeah,
And it did burst.
Yeah, I do think that's the case, right? And so, but esports will find itself, and games aren't going anywhere. Gaming as an industry now is bigger than the music and movie industry combined.
It's crazy.
It's huge.
It's
So-
crazy.
and it's not shrinking. It's definitely not shrinking. So, it's only natural. Like it will keep strong. But yeah, I think it's kind of like a teething phase for
Yeah.
esports right now.
I-
It's still a new industry.
It's
honestly.
everywhere. Yeah, it's everywhere in esports. I from what I've observed is that it's still quite a passion-led industry. You don't need a doctorate to start entering, and it's not guaranteed whether you stay.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that kind of moves on to I love casting, and I love doing League of Legends casts here at the uni and everything.
Mm-hmm.
What is for me and people at home? What is the best way to start and build yourself into like the talent industry in esports?
Yeah, I think again a lot of who you know is important. So
Yeah.
I definitely put yourself out there.
Be annoying.
Be annoying. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, be annoying. That was something we said in the presentation. If you're sitting at home thinking,
Yeah.
yeah, we basically put yourself out there. There's a lot of people that work in esports, and they're not all don't all have to be the casters. But let's say you've got someone that works. Maybe I know I'll use LEC as an example. I know there's a guy that works on the script there. There's like audio engineers. There's
Yeah.
camera operators. There's just insane amount of people that work on a broadcast. And even if one of the casters might not get back to you, even if you hit up someone that works in production, they know the casters.
Yeah.
And so it's always good to just put yourself out there for sure. And when you do put yourself out there, if you have something to show, like this is who I am, this is what I do. I was talking to someone earlier after the chat. Oh my goodness, what was his name? Luca.
Luca, yeah.
He's another guy who wants to get into casting. And he asked me a very similar question, and I said to him like create a show reel, essentially, like examples of the things that you do and what show off your strengths. And for him, he says he's mostly a play-by-play caster.
Yeah.
And so I said to him, okay, just take some really hype moments in games, like maybe some like previous esports broadcasts or whatever, and obviously mute the commentary, and then just do your own take on it. And just do your own hype thing, and then just show, and then have a few clips of that. Create your like 2-minute-long reel, and then when you approach people and say, "Look, I want to be a caster. This is what I want to do," you can be like, "And this is how I want to do it."
Yeah,
and then they see that, and they're like, "Okay, this guy's kind of cool. This guy's good," and they get into it.
The proof of concept is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to be amazing right from the get-go. No one will be, but if you put yourself out there enough and give yourself the best opportunity to catch someone's eye, you will get invited to something, you will get involved. And then from there, it's like, okay, let's say this was an esports setup right here. I mean, talk about Finland, the producer. You would then want to schmooze up with him a little bit because he probably knows other casters.
Hi, Finlo.
And he might know people that know people. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and then you just get to know people, you get to work with people. Like I said, with the ESL thing, which then turned into the Riot thing, which then turned into LEC. I was doing the tiny UK broadcast, but it was a very buddy thing. It was all really nice. And they picked up the Riot thing, and the producer wanted to, carry on people that he already knew and worked with. So I was like,
nice.
that's how I got in, and because he knew ESL, because he was an ESL guy, obviously. And then ESL knew Riot, because Riot wanted to work with ESL to do the thing.
Yeah.
2
+ 2 is 4.
Yeah.
And it just kept going
quick
there.
maths.
Yeah, quick
exactly.
maths.
So yeah, I just, it's important as well if you're trying to get into casting to, as I said, put yourself out there, show people what you can do, but also I will say one more thing about the caster reel.
Yeah.
My caster reel does not have what Luca's caster reel will have, for example, because
Yeah.
we're different styles of casters.
Yeah.
My caster reel has a lot of me, has Captain Brexit in it, the guy you were talking about.
Yep.
It has a lot of me laughing, making other people laugh.
I mean, your Naraka clip like just speaks words.
Yeah.
I can't remember what you said exactly, but just something about like one of the characters just being what is it, just swinging the sword wildly or something?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I remember there was one. I can't remember. I should know my own caster, but there was one. There was one clip in there where. So you can have your custom characters in Naraka. You customize how your character looks, and so there are like packages online where you can like download like the custom setup and players like Homer Simpson or the Grinch or whatever, right? And so you can look like these ridiculous characters, and someone had the most hideous character that I had ever seen, and so I was ragging on him for that, and you know, just drawing attention to that, and we were just messing about with it and just having a laugh with it, you know, and I put that in my caster reel. I'm not talking about the game. I'm not showing off my analytical skills. You know, I'm just showing that I'm fun. When you bring me on a broadcast, I'm fun, and people see that and they want to work with that. I also put in like screenshots of positive Reddit comments and positive social media comments because again,
I noticed that.
I think, you know, if you're an organizer, you think, oh, you know, people like this guy. He gets attention on social media, you know, and yes, I cherry picked the good ones and left out all the bad ones. And it's like, and that's fine because it's my show reel and it's 2 minutes of me bigging myself up. And so that's something which, you know, is good and that helps.
Does having a social media presence, it almost feels like a stupid question to ask, but does this social media element, content creation support the casting? And is it necessary to have this like almost like this social background?
I'd say you definitely want a presence for sure, because a lot of it, esports gaming, it's all online.
Yeah.
You know, and so your social presence is like your online, well, presence for lack of a better word. So yeah, you want some kind of presence there, and it's how your audience will reach you as well and connect with you. It's oftentimes how you connect with organizers, these kinds of people. So yeah, definitely want to get a social media presence. And again, I talked about organizers and the audience, other casters.
Yeah.
You hit up other casters on social media. Like everyone's in some form or another that's in casting uses social media in some way, right?
Yeah.
So you can hit them up there and you can message them, right? Like I don't know if it counts as a social media, but even with Finlo talking to him about this podcast, he hit me up on LinkedIn. And then I added him to Discord.
Yeah.
You know?
It was just Finlo's always been quite clicky.
But that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I see.
And so with him, I know he's listening, I don't want his head to explode, but
he's in our heads.
He's getting experience with producing. He's learning how to work the tech.
Yeah.
He's got like a paper trail almost, you know, footprints in the snow of what he's done, and he's annoying. It's like he's
very annoying, Finlay.
It's but you know, be annoying obviously, and he reaches out to people. Like that's literally, I guarantee you, if he wants to, he can have a career in esports, and he's already set up perfectly to do it.
Yeah, definitely. And with that being said, like setting up your career in the future, you've talked about new channels and everything like that. But what is the thing you want to like pursue in terms of passion? Have you found that?
That's such a question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because it would be very interesting to see how, you know, esports is usually considered as, you know, you do one thing, you do it very well, and that's it.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting to see if, like, you know, you've already been very successful in content creation and casting. So then make another swap in there as well. It would...
Yeah. I like this.
Yeah. You like this?
I like this. I like going to places and talking to students.
And like the education side is starting to push you more.
Yeah, for sure. It's what it's certainly a passion of mine.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm very interested in doing it. You know, the only downside really is like schools can be, you know, they're not in my bedroom.
Yeah.
You know. Probably could have phrased that a bit better, but
let's keep them out there as well. Let's leave it like that.
But you know what I mean? Like I have to go out to places and whatever. Like, You know, I've given talks to schools in Dartford, Kent, you know, West London, Oxford, and for me, these are all like hour-plus drives
Yeah.
and 1 hour to 2 hour stuff, and that can be a bit of a pain, especially I do a lot of this volunteer-wise as well.
Right.
I'll just go to a school and go there, and I'm just like, I mean, if you can cover my travel costs, that would be great.
Yeah.
Some don't even do that. They're like, well, we can buy you lunch. And I was like, yeah, have a school lunch. Why not? Do you know what I mean? Like, because I just enjoy it.
Mm.
I really enjoy it. And one of my favorite pictures of all time of me, there's a few goofy ones out there from my time working on broadcast. And one of my absolute favorite ones happened somewhat recently, a few months back, when I was talking at a school in West London, and it wasn't a uni or a college, it was a school, like a school. It may have had like a sixth form thing in there as well, but there were students at my talk from ages like 13 to 16 maybe.
Gotcha. So like upper secondary.
Yeah, secondary school level, yeah. And yeah, it was a cool turnout. It was like, you know, 30, 40 kids there. It was really nice. And the school had printed out posters, like a career talk, you know, coming to this school, you know, Foxdrop and, you know, things that I did like Twitch, YouTube, and like Riot Games, caster, content guy. And
Nice.
the picture in the corner was the one where I was doing finger guns for the on LEC. Me in my suit doing finger guns. And at the end of the talk, there was a group of kids that came up to me and they were like, "Oh, can we do the pose? Take a picture. We do the pose." So I'm there with like maybe like 10 other students, and then we're all doing the finger gun pose to the camera, and I'm just like that's just it. Do you know what I mean? That's it right there. I just loved it. It was so funny. They were probably taking the piss, but still, it was like.
I mean, that's still really cool.
I thought it was cool. Yeah, I thought it was really cool. So even if they are taking the piss or whatever, it's just a fun thing, you know, and I enjoyed it.
And that is kind of like, I mean, it's like Faker's Shush.
Yeah.
When you're doing like that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's your own little, like, Usain Bolt pose.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, maybe I can. Yeah, we'll think about that.
The finger guns.
Yeah. It's the thing is though, obviously, there's passion and then there's paying your mortgage. I'm 30 now. I have a mortgage to pay, and I'm trying to marry what I love with things that I can earn money with. And yeah, so that's really all I'm navigating at the moment. So
yeah, which is fair enough. And yeah, in terms of the passion, you're saying it's education. But in terms of like how you started, just going back there, what would you say was your idol growing into the industry?
My idol, Christ. Yeah. To be fair, there weren't a lot of them back in the day. No. There weren't a lot of other people. Oh man. So when I first started, I didn't know a lot about YouTube.
Yeah.
So I guess it was just other league YouTubers. Off the top of my head, I'm gonna say you won't know any of these guys because they're probably too old school. But there's a guy called GB99.
Okay, we're gonna wait for producer Finlow to see if he comes back with any of these.
No, yeah, GB99 was banging. He was great. I reached out to him early. A guy called he's googling it. A guy called Stonewall. He was like the OG jungle guy who I kind of took over a little bit.
Okay.
God, I can't think off the top of my head. Maybe Civ HD, but he was everyone. He was a legend in it as well.
Wait,
Spazzy.
no, I've seen G-Bay.
Yeah, you know G-Bay?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I've seen both of those 10 years ago.
Yeah.
LoL fans predicted, and the player that saved League. Yeah.
He's still got pretty strong, G-Bay. See, and he's evergreened it.
Yeah.
Because he's not just about the second one's called Stonewall, Finlow. Stonewall. Yeah. Stonewall 0 something 008. That's the one. Yeah. There we go. We're just bringing it up on.
Okay, you can tell this is a very OG League player because of all the splash arts.
Yeah.
Going like 2 splash arts back.
But he used to do like tier lists of like what the best junglers are and how to optimize your junglers and stuff like that. So, in fact, one of the content that I used to do is I used to wait for his tier list to come out and I'd critique it because I was a high rated player.
Right.
And that was my content because people would watch his tier list and then watch me watching his tier. It's like an OG reaction type thing. But
yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, I liked those. Spazzy was great as well. He's just a really lovely guy. Yeah, so those are my OG inspirations.
That's really cool. And you know, with that being said, how do you see people like looking up to you in that way?
Oh man. Uh I mean, well, I don't know.
I mean, you'd have to
I
check the fans, right, for
yeah,
something like that.
it's like I guess I don't know honestly. I like to think so I think a lot of it is your confirmation biases
Yeah,
of what you mentally listen to. It's not just what's being
yeah,
said, it's what you
yeah.
hear type thing. And for me, so what I'm trying to say is, I
Because the way I'm structuring this question, sorry, is that how did the like affirmation of the comments and everything, did it help continue going
yeah,
with?
yeah, it did. And for me, the biggest one wasn't, oh, I'm making content because I'm watching you.
Yeah,
It's, I went through a really dark place.
yeah.
And I know you've had your issues with anxiety, and like watching you really helped, and watching you struggle with things, but
Keep pushing it.
still going. Yeah. And for me, those are the ones that I heard
Yeah.
the most. I don't know. Yeah,
No,
that's the ones that stick with me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. They're the ones that stick with me the most. And so, yeah, I really appreciate that a lot. And I know that can be difficult, honestly.
yeah.
So,
And how like Fi, your brother,
hi, gosh, yeah, okay.
like another big YouTube creator at the time. I remember seeing that you guys had a splash art on the League client together of one of
Yeah.
your streams.
Oh man.
Like yeah, and how was that dynamic? Because that's very unique in the
Yeah.
scene, having two brothers. I mean, I guess take Smosh as like an exception and stuff like that, but two brothers together playing the same game, covering the same content.
Yeah.
Like, was it competitive? Was it like what was the environment like?
No, it was very supportive. So,
Yeah.
I started first, and then I got him into it. Um, Although he eclipsed me by the end of it with he's very business minded,
Right.
very business minded, and so yeah, he was very successful and very good at what he did. And he had a he figured out what his niche, his formula, and he just rolled with it, and he perfected it. He optimized it and became very successful doing it. To be honest, I don't know whether he disagree with this, but I don't think it was ever his passion.
Right.
Hence, he doesn't do it anymore.
That's fair.
He dropped out of it. Like, he was still relatively big, but he saw greener grass, I guess, for him personally,
Okay.
and so he
Yeah.
just dropped it. Like, for him, it was like a means to an end.
Yeah.
Not to say that he never enjoyed doing it, but just different ways to look at it. And he was very good at what it was that he did. And yeah, when we first started, I remember I'd host some of his. He did very similar content to me, but AD carry focus, like a different
Right.
role.
Okay. So you had a jungle AD carry
Yeah.
duo.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd host every now and then I would host other creators' videos on my channel
Yeah.
when they were educational and I thought they were good videos. And he was one of them. And he did
Yeah.
do good videos, and he created his own channel and did his own like AD carry stuff and whatever, and guides and things like that. He then moved into more meta focused things, like this is what the Koreans are playing this patch, this is what they're doing now. Here are the most OP picks over in Korea. Here's the best picks for this for this patch, the winners and losers of the patch, that kind of thing, right?
Oh yeah, I see. Like a patch content creator.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, but no, it was a really nice environment. It was really cool to do things with him. We got oftentimes events we would do together, go together, like Insomnias and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We got to do together, which was nice. He never got into the esports side of things like I did. So I never did that with him. But no, it's always been really nice. And me and my brother were really close growing up, especially, still are. So no, I really enjoyed it. Being able to share that with him was really good.
Yeah, that is very like again a very unique. I mean, I'm an only child, so I'd never be able to pull that off. For example, So yeah, it sounds really cool.
It was cool. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, it was different. It was always good. Just kind of have someone to keep you in line a little bit. It's very easy to when it's just you doing your own things, like it's nice having someone not breathing down your neck, but if you're feeling a little bit demotivated, but he's still going hard,
Yeah.
then you go like, yeah, okay, I guess I can do this too.
So with you wanting to move on, there is still one thing with League that is coming around the corner, you could say, and that's Worlds.
Yeah.
And it's going to be coming to London of
Mhm.
all places. How does that make you feel? Like, are you still going to be thinking about covering that, or what is your involvement going to be with Worlds?
I'll be there
Esports?
for sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm still involved with Riot as a creator.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've worked with Riot on lots of different things, to be honest, from lots of different
yeah,
angles. But yeah, I'll be there for sure, and I still love it. It's a spectacle. I think Worlds is brilliant. I love the people we get to see. You kind of develop a friend group as a content creator with other content creators,
yeah,
but they're based like all across the world a lot of the time.
yeah,
So honestly, I have some really close friends that I see like once every like 3 or 4 years at events. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, and then when you see them, it's like it's so brilliant. It's great for like that week or that weekend, and you have loads of fun, and it's great. But you know, so yeah, I love that a lot. It's a good excuse to get together
It's
with
like a
friends.
big fan meetup, but you're each other's fans.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah, legit.
that's
We're each
cool.
other's friends. Yeah, it's really cool. I'm looking forward to Worlds a lot, and it's gonna be it's in Wembley, so it's gonna be big, and I don't quite know how well EU's gonna do because I think we kind of suck.
So that being said, what are going to be the Foxdrop predictions?
I mean, we don't know who's going yet, so
Oh, there's got to be some teams that are staple going though.
I think G2 will probably make it from
Yeah?
EU for sure. Yeah, I think
G2?
G2's got to be one. Probably Fnatic again. I mean, we're early on into the early stages
Yeah.
of this year's LEC stuff. So yeah, I'd say maybe those two. I don't know who else would make it, but G2 is usually the best chance that we have at doing things. So
See, I'm in terms of winning worlds, who do you think that would be? Because personally, I mean, I'm a big T1 fan. I feel like now this might just because Gen G is usually like LCK champions.
yeah.
But I feel like Gen G has the shot this year.
I feel like it's hard to predict the Eastern teams until you get to the end of the first split.
Yeah.
Because from my experience, the team that dominates early like tends to keep dominating throughout the year. I'm not sure what it is about the Eastern teams, like whether they just have certain systems that enable them to be more consistent.
Yeah.
Whereas I would argue in the West, the best team in spring probably won't be the best team in summer or winter and that kind of thing.
We have too many roster changes.
Yeah.
I think that's it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely a different system here. So I just don't know what to say. Honestly, I haven't seen LCK or LPL to give a prediction. So
Yeah.
I think it will be. Do I think it'll be an LPL or an LCK win? I'm gonna say LCK again though. I still think Korea's gonna win. Yeah.
So okay, just throwing a team in there. What team do you think gonna just be like you know, giving it a pot shot?
Giving it a pot shot. Okay, here it is. This is what's gonna happen in Worlds 2024. Okay.
Okay.
So T1.
Okay, T1.
They make it through winter, spring, summer, and fall. And then what happens, yeah? They get to Worlds. They get all the way up to the finals.
Okay, we're
Having beaten G2 in the semi-finals.
2022 rerun here.
Yeah. And what happens, yeah? Keria, who's been an absolute machine up until this point, dominating in all support statistics. He sprains his wrist getting out of bed. And it's the grand finals.
No.
What do they do?
What do you do in that situation?
Who do they sub in?
It's not going to be Teddy anymore. It's not going to be...
Who's their academy support?
Reckless! It's a Reckless Worlds final.
He comes in at the last minute. He saves T1's hopes. And sort of redeems EU in the process because he's kind of like he'll be the first EU player to win Worlds if you don't count Freak Spaceman in season 1. So yeah,
season 1's a very grey area though.
Yeah. It is. It's a grey area. It was global. They had some Asian teams, but yeah.
But we're seeing a Reckless finals at Worlds to carry T1.
Yep.
over carrier of all the people in T1 as well.
Well, he injures himself. It's not performance based. He injures himself.
Yeah.
He's been doing well though.
Yeah.
Reckless in
He
Academy.
has, yeah.
Yeah.
They lost that game. I can't believe they did in Academy the other day. I forgot who was it against producer Finn though? It was.
He doesn't know.
I don't know.
Against another LCK or Challengers team. Yeah.
It was.
No, I've heard about that. And apparently a lot of T1 Academy is kind of sprinting it. Except Reckless.
And
that comes from the words of the Koreans.
Poby, we love Poby in the mid lane. The second coming of Faker with their Nico plays. But yeah, that's all I've been seeing. That's all the clips I've been getting out of it. But
there he is.
There he is. Very interesting. So we're gonna do our tradition.
I think we'll ad while he's trying to look up there.
If Aria, would you mind if we borrow your phone for just 1 second? We're gonna do the newfound tradition of a selfie mid podcast.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait.
They do this in what's it? The cooldown in LEC. Shox has a selfie with people. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I never noticed that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's why we
stole it.
To get a cheese. Perfect.
Hell yeah.
Thank you for the selfie.
You're welcome.
And yeah, it has been a pleasure. Make sure to, for those at home, to follow Foxdrop on everything you can find. He's on Twitter, he's on YouTube, he's on Twitch, or maybe a new YouTube and Twitch.
Yeah. TikTok.
And TikTok.
Instagram.
LinkedIn. You'll find Dan everywhere.
You will.
So
it's worldwide.
Is there coming in loud? Is there anything else you'd like to say before?
Yeah, best way to follow is on Twitch. There's a button that says subscribe. If you click the tier 3 option.
Oh yeah, the tier 3 option I've heard not only lets you follow Dan, but also pays your bills.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It pays someone's bills.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah. You'll be able to find it in the description of the Spotify or YouTube, however you are listening today. But yeah, thank you once again, Dan Foxdrop. It has been a pleasure to be.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, what a guest to have on the premiere of the first CoEs Industry podcast.
I'm curious. Do you have any plans for other people on the industry podcast?
Oh, I think we can. We have a couple ideas.
You don't want to spoil anything yet, but I would say if anyone watching has any ideas, then hit. What do you call yourself? CoE?
Well, it will be under London Legion TV.
London Legion, yeah. Well, whatever. Hit these guys up with your ideas.
Yeah. So feel free.
You can't have me again. I've already been on one.
Nah, I'm sure we can rope you in a second.
Yeah, maybe you can. To be fair,
when the new things start happening with the channel.
When I blow up my other channel.
Yeah, exactly.
And I become the greatest. Yeah.
Perfect.
I don't know.
So, thank you once again. We'll be seeing you next month with our next guest. Until then. Oh, and next week there will also be a CoEs Couch. But until then, see you guys later. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.